Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree. Today we are using some stuff up. Yes, we are. Now, I'm doing this challenge, 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025, hosted by Scrapbook Sage. And all these lovely ladies are taking part. You can too, just by using the hashtag. So there's lots of links for that below. If you watch any of my Thriftycanucks videos, you'll know that I picked up these table number tent cards. Now, they're from the dollar store, but I picked them up at the Lions Club garage sale. There was a dollar store that closed down, and they gave all their leftover stuff to the Lions to sell, which was very, very nice of them. So I thought I was going to use up a package of these. So I have one out here. Now, they're just a folding card, and then, you kind of make it so that it sits on the table, right? At a wedding or whatever. But that, of course, is not what I'm going to do with it. I've got some napkins. I've got a little bit of lace. I've got my glue stick. And thanks, Kim, for putting me on to this Amazon basic glue stick. Works great. First glue stick I found that actually works for me. I might need some more glitter glue. I've got some ink. I've got my glue gun. I've got this silicone spatula, scissors, a couple book pages for gluing. So let's start. Very simple project. And I kind of like it. So I'm going to turn my napkin over. It doesn't really matter to me if there's crinkles in it and stuff. I'm not too worried. So I'm going to bring over my glue. I'm going to start with the back. Now I'm just going to use my glue stick, spread it all over the back here. And yeah, 2025, I love going out and finding the stuff, but I also need to use the stuff. So that's what 2025 is about for me. So I'm going to put this right on top of that rose on that. And I'm just going to push it down. Now, Kim showed us in a few videos about using the lid. And I do normally do that. But I find with the napkins, they rip too easy. So I just used my hand. Just go over it a couple times. Now, normally I would wait till this is dry, but I got to do this video. So let's just cut this off. I was just sitting here one day and I thought, I need to use some of those up. What am I going to do? So this is kind of the plan I came up with to use up the start of these. I think, I had 5 packages of these total. So, and I think there's like 15 or something. Well, these are 13 to 12 pieces. So some of them have different numbers, etc. Okay, so there is that on there. Now I'm going to put this other one here. A bunch of glue stick on there. And I'm just going to glue this part here. Now, as you can see on here, you can see the number underneath that. And I kind of like that, actually. So let's open this up. And we're just going to glue down this front side here. Now you can lay the napkin on top of this. I just found it was easier turning this over and just dropping it onto the napkin. So now I want to try getting that rose kind of in the middle there. So let's get that down. And we're going to press that down again. Just like that. So I'm going to open it up. And this little piece here, I'm going to cut that right off. I don't really need it there. And it's easier to just cut it straight than it is to try and do anything else. Now this piece, not quite wide. I could probably use it, but I got another napkin here. So let's just use a piece of this. And we're going to put it down on this piece here. So let's glue this up. So you could use any napkins. You could even make these little folding things yourself. I'm just going to put this on. Just going to kind of lay it on top of there this time, being that it's a smaller area. So now we've basically got, I didn't worry about cutting this off. The reason I trimmed this one was because I needed to get there and I needed to get there. So now that this is all glued down, we can trim it all out. I'm not too worried about here, and you'll see why in a minute. And let's trim that up. The bottom is actually pretty good. You could probably rip your napkin. I just find it easier to cut it. As I say, very simple, easy project. Okay, let's put those napkins. I'll save the bigger pieces of napkin for decoupage and or collage and whatnot. But the little tiny pieces I'll throw away. So now we have this. We have like a, and I guess you could leave it at this if you wanted, but I don't want to leave it like that. So get my ink. And I'm just going to ink the inside edge. All the way around. And there is a slit here, like that little piece that I cut off would technically go in. I think it's okay, like having that napkin there I think is enough for it. But you could put a little piece of paper in there if you didn't like it. So I mean, you could eat, well, I mean, these were $1.75 originally. But like I say, I got them at the Lions, so there it's by donation, and I just fill up my bag and then I give them a nice donation and I take my bag home. Sometimes I'll get 2 bags, sometimes, you know, depending on what I give them for a donation, depends on what I've got in my bag or if I've gotten any other stuff that day. Okay, so we got that. Now there is a couple spots here where it's not glued down as good as I would like. So this is where I use my art glitter glue, and I will just put a tiny little bit along there and then I glue it down. I probably don't really need to do it, but I like to do it. So if there's any corners, like this corner here isn't quite. Using the glue stick, I do find that if you can glue like all the way to the edge, but then you cut that edge off, it seems to stick a lot better. So there we go. So that's pretty good there. Let's put the pin in the glue. Okay, now the lace. Oh, actually, didn't need to put the pin in there because I need this again. Okay, so I'm just going to take this lace, and because my napkins are joined there, but it looks pretty good, but I want to decorate it a little bit more. So I am going to put this glue along the top. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue, probably about 1/4 of an inch in. And then I'm going to put a piece of this lace. It's kind of a grayish color, I guess, or a very, very dirty white. So, and I find the art glitter glue works great for lace. Just going to trim this off to make it easier to work with. And then I'm going to glue down the edge here, because I do want it glued down good. I don't want it coming up. Now when I push this down, I'm resting my hand on there really, and I just do that. I will also use this and push down so then the glue doesn't gum up my fingers too much if I'm doing a lot of them. Now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put glue on, see, and right there, there's the corner that didn't really stick down, but that's okay. I'm going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to run a piece of glue right along the top edge of this lace. And then that's going to glue down my whole thing. So I'm just going to push that up. This is where this comes in handy. I'll just like brush this on. It's enough to hold it down, and sometimes I'll take this and I'll just tap it along there. Why I do it that way, I have no idea. So there's that. And now I'm going to do the same thing down here. Make sure I get my lace going the right way. Okay, hold on. So I want the scalloped edge on the front, basically. Okay, let's glue this up. Now, I could use other glues, but I do like art glitter glue. I find I don't need to use a lot of it, so it actually lasts longer than some of the other glues. I used to always use Elena's tacky glue. I do not use Fabri-Tac anymore. I find it just not dries out, but it thickens up, so then I can't use it, and I'm forever thinning it with acetone. And so yeah, I find the art glitter glue works with just everything that I need it to. And then if I need to, I'll use my hot glue gun, or I have like E6000 or something like that if I really think I need something like heavy duty. Okay, and then I'm gonna put the lace on the back side, and again I'm gonna run a bead of glue right down where that lace is the thickest there. And then again, I'm just gonna use this, and some lace wraps around this and glues down so easy, and others not so much. Some lace is just, I don't know, I guess harder to glue down. Okay, so there is that. Let's go ahead and we're just going to trim. Oops. Normally I would wait until it dries, but for the sake of the video, let's get it done. Okay, and then this one here too. There we go. Let's move all that to the side. Now I can put the pin in the glue. I find that that little hole plugs up so quickly. Okay, so now we've got that. Now the lace to me does two things. It's decorative, adds a little bit of texture, but plus it reinforces that little bit that you're going to be opening and closing. Let's do, I made these up a long time ago, just a piece of paper, couple pieces of lace, staple in the middle, done deal. So I am going to actually use that as a closure. So I'm not going to put glue. There we go again. I need my glue. Okay, I spend more time taking the pin in and out than I do using the glue. But that's okay. Okay, and then I didn't glue the top because that's going to be kind of the tuck spot to hold the lid closed. Okay, let's get that. Just make sure that it's pressed down a bit. Now, because there's only one staple in here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put tiny little bit of glue behind that. I find that sometimes with just the one staple, they will move a little bit, but it depends on what I'm using it for. So we got that there. This is going to tuck behind there to hold it closed. We got a little paper bow that I made out of just some scraps. I have a die cut for this, but fun to make, and they're good for so many things. Let's just put a little ink around the edge. There we go. And I'm going to put that on here. And I think I'm going to put it on a bit of an angle just because, but I'm going to cover up that staple. That's what I'm going to do. Because actually, no, let's just use our regular glue. It's kind of why I plugged in the glue gun, was to glue this on, but I think the art glitter glue will hold it just fine on there. So now I want to cover up the staple, and I want to put it at a bit of an angle just because. And I try not to press it on the bows, like this part of the bow, because I don't want to like flatten it out a lot. Okay, so that's going to be like that. So that's it. We are done. Now you can, like I say, you can see the number behind there. So that adds a little bit of texture, I guess. Another layer. And then you're just going to open it up and you can write in it. You got lots of journaling space. When you put it in your book, you could glue the top and bottom, have it as a belly band or a pocket. I think I'm going to do another batch of 12 of these, and I'm actually going to glue this down here and here and make a little pocket and then put a tag in it. But for these ones, I'm just using it as a flip out. Now I made them in pairs, so this is the pair of these. So they kind of go together, you know, if a person wanted to use them in the same journal or whatever. Well, let's show you some other ones that I've made, and I decorated them all a little bit different. We've got these ones. So I really like how they turned out. These were just napkins that kind of, they were more or less pieces, but you can see we've got 15 and 16 there. And then we've got these two, which I've put on some of my crocheted button flowers. Like how they turned out. So we got 22 and 23. I really like them, and of course they all just open up, tuck back in there to close. Got those ones. We got a couple of flamingos. These I took out of my odds and ends jar that sits on my desk. These actually came from greeting cards, these flowers. So use those for there. And then we've got these butterfly, bee, dragonfly ones. Got a little metal flower. And again, the same thing on them all. I have the little collage things done. That's what I just like to do with my bits and pieces of laces. I put the paper on the back because it makes it so much easier to glue down to anything. So, but cute, nice journaling spot. And like I say, I think I'm going to do up 12 more just like this, but I'm going to make the inside into a pocket. Slip in a card of some kind or a tag, and then you have a pocket as well as a pocket behind if you choose to do that. You could even slip them into another pocket because the back is finished. I thought, well, if you glue them down to a page, then that kind of is a waste of this here. One reason why I didn't decorate, I just put the napkin on there because this way I can use them either way. I can slip them into a pocket, they're finished. I can still glue them down and use them whichever way. I'd be more likely to put these into a pocket. But that is my table. I guess I could call it a table tent card. Flips. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to call these. Just journaling cards. Flip journal cards. Matchbox journal cards. Something like that. But hope you enjoyed this little video. Hope you enjoyed seeing me use up some of the stuff I've gotten from sales. And yeah, hopefully the video goes out. I think the video already went out for these actually, now that I think of it. But yeah, fun little project. Thanks for joining me. Check out the links below. Try some of these out. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you. Oh, before I go, this was my first one, and I actually put a Velcro dot on there, which also worked for closing. Just so you know. That's the only one. And then I decided to start doing it this way. So now, hope you will like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.